I'm Greg Thomas from Genesis, and welcome to Level Up CX Tech, where we delve into the most pressing issues, opportunities, and challenges in customer experience right now, and how you can use CX technology to see real business value.
And I'm Michael Logan, and today we're going to be joined by Beth Granberry of Global Payment Systems. So, with that, let's get into this week's episode.
Hey Beth, welcome. Could you introduce yourself for our listeners?
I sure will. Thank you. Yes, I am glad to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm Beth Granberry. I work for Global Payments. We are literally a worldwide global payment company, and we process payments for banks, for merchants. We do credit card purchases. We do point of sale purchases. And I've been with the company 27 years, so it's been a long way through a couple of acquisitions, but I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, and could you just tell us a little bit about your role, and then we'll kind of dive into your journey there at Global Payments?
Certainly. So my role over the 27 years, of course, has transitioned from one facet to another. And where I am right now is really a place I love and where a lot of peers would love to be, and that is focusing on strategy and innovation. Strategy and innovation is near and dear to my heart. I get to look at what's on the market, understand the marketplace. I get to see what innovation is there and how it can benefit our customers, how it can benefit our company, and then also look into our own ecosystem of networking and tools and see how it would fit in that ecosystem. So, looking at all the new technology allows me to really align with what our business units are asking for. They're looking for CX, they're looking for the voice of the customer, they're looking for journey management. And so once they say, this is where we want to go, my role literally sits beside the business, sits beside our customer experience team, and we map out what technology we want to utilize and what platform we want to put it on.
So, Beth, tell us a little bit about Global Payments' journey and their migration from legacy solutions to a cloud solution. What were some of the drivers behind that? What are the things that were really important to you, and how did you see the light to move forward?
So the movement from where we were with a voice legacy platform and then moving to cloud, working with a digital voice media routing was a huge change. We knew that cloud was going to change not only how we processed calls, but how we looked at the entire platform altogether. We had a internal boot camp that our DevOps team was doing just for our whole company to reformulate our developers into using more cloud native tools. As a participant and teacher of that, we learned about DevOps, about Agile, about Scrum, DevOps Sec. All of these were included in the boot camp, along with the tools that we used for developing. So when we began looking at the other vendors that we wanted to review, we looked at number one, do they have cloud native code? And that was my first question that I asked the vendors. If they did not have cloud native code, then I would not look at them. And there were several vendors that did not have that, and we marked them off because we knew we had to have that code down into the microservices level to do what we needed to do on the digital side as well as the voice side.
So Beth, this boot camp I think is fascinating, right? The Global Payments invested in sort of looking at like where is the industry going? What is the cloud really going to bring to us? Can you talk a little bit more about that boot camp experience that you went through?
Absolutely. The boot camp was actually a corporate-wide initiative, as our company really did, from a processing perspective, move to cloud. We knew that we had to retrain our developers. We wanted to move toward the DevOps. We wanted to create Scrum teams, and we wanted to start doing more minimal viable products, or MVP deliveries. After spending 20 years on voice, the organization shifted, and I moved over into a cloud business office team. And the cloud business office was the team that was running the boot camps. So I actually started training our own team members. What is Agile? What is Scrum? How do we do MVPs? How do we create stories? So part of the boot camp was all about just getting there from an Agile perspective. The other part of the boot camp was getting team members introduced to Terraform. What can Terraform do? What do we use GitHub for? What about Jenkins? What about Docker? All of the DevOps tools as well was taught within that boot camp, but I did not teach those, just letting you know. So when I spent about 3 years doing boot camps, I began to say, okay, but how does this apply to voice? And at the time, it didn't. When I then moved back in the telephony area, I said, look, these business teams are wanting us to deploy chat. This is a perfect way for us to become more agile and not do an 18-month waterfall deployment. If it's chat, let's use DevOps. And it has taken several years for us to get there. But now, specifically on the Genesis platform, we can create chats very quickly, and we run them through a similar Scrum process. It's not a formal Scrum, but that's exactly what we're doing now, and it's working great for the business because they're able to get those minimal viable products out there in front of our customers and engage our customers quickly and simply wherever they are, meaning if they're on their phone or if they're on our customer portal, wherever they are, they can engage.
Let me follow up on that, because I think the idea of having the boot camp was brilliant because it sets you up in so many ways for success. When you did make the evolution to the cloud product, with knowing everything you took into that from things like the boot camp, and I'm sure there was other processes you were putting in place, what are some of the things you learned about being on a cloud platform that maybe perhaps caused some changes internally with your IT processes?
So our biggest challenge has been working with the business developers. The Genesis platform is so flexible and it's quite easy to learn as well. Our business team decided, they're the ones that prioritized all of the projects and said, these are the projects we're going to do first. And their developers said, well, we'll develop it because we know what customer, we know how that customer responds in our portal that we offer them. And then we'll write it in the sandbox, and then y'all flip it over into production. So the flipping it over into production is not as easy as flipping it over. And that became one of our largest challenges. The development team says, well, give us access to the production system and we'll put it in there. And our team is going, this is a production system that has voice on it, so we're limiting access to it. So that has been a piece of, I guess, I don't know, like we're battling for control in a way. And our teams had to come together and say, this is how we're going to manage this. We're going to manage it by the developers are doing the development in the sandbox, and our team sits alongside them during the development process. And then when it gets ready for production, we're putting it in production. But we are just now learning the tools that are needed to make that change a lot faster, right? We need to enable tools to help us get it into production faster. And that is where we are from a learning curve perspective. So we are all on a learning curve now with getting this digital migration done within Genesis.
Yeah.
And making sure they flip it over too, because it sounds like
Yes.
that's actually the technical term for releasing it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So I think what I'd love to kind of like go to next is this. So this idea that you just described, right? Like it's a new way of thinking. It's a new way of building tools. It's a new way of kind of partnering with the business. Like, what did you see from the business team's perspective as you sort of, brought this new way of working in, and then you brought in this new idea and a set of capabilities on the CX side. So we were just voice. Now we can do chats. We can do these other things. How did the business team respond, and how did you bring them along, if you will, to make sure that what they wanted was kind of being delivered?
Yep. So there are two things. One is we have created a Genesis Center of Excellence. We have the business so excited about what they can do with the Genesis platform. All of our voice migrations are already planned out for this year and early next year. But now, of course, we have tons of different digital services that are also being deployed at the same time. And we started to see those step on each other where we didn't even know we had a chat going in the same day where we're migrating 800 users on voice to Genesis. And we're like, whoa, let's not do that at the same day. So the Voice Center of Excellence is bringing the business and the technology and the programming developer teams together, just like every week, every other week, to say, this is what we have on our table for this week, next week, and next week. Are we still on schedule? Are we still aligning to our change control processes? Do we have the people with the right permissions to put this into production? So the Center of Excellence is also a place where we will put together the roadmap and then bubble that up to the Center of Excellence and then also up to the leadership on the business and technology sides. So that is one thing that we found that we're doing. The second thing is, even outside of just the digital development, we have other software platforms within the company that are also doing chat, right? So it's like, well, we already have a chat going with Zendesk, or we're already doing chat with Salesforce, and why would we switch over to Genesis? So I am proposing this. I haven't gotten this far yet, but what I am proposing is to do a target operating model and work with Microsoft Teams in our company, our Microsoft Teams group, our Salesforce group, our Qualtrics group, our Genesis group, our Zendesk, our Dialpad, all of the different software that actually have voice and digital communication come together and say, Salesforce, you're a CRM, we're going to let you do CRM, but you have a good Einstein back there. So let's see how we can work that in. It's actually just picking each technology and using it to the best of the ability and then integrating the rest, and not letting one technology platform just take everything because they can do it. We want to choose the technology platform that does it the best and works best for our customers and our ecosystem and for global payments.
Yeah, and I think that idea that you're sort of touching on there of this is why it's so important for all these systems to be able to talk to one another, and the APIs and interoperability, right? So you can deliver on your business objectives, picking the right kind of capabilities and the right tools to do that. So let's switch to the benefits that you've seen. So, benefits can be hard numbers, benefits can be anecdotal. When you think about success and the benefits that you've seen at Global Payments as you've gone through and continue to go through this transition on the customer experience side, like what do you think of as the benefits and the outcomes?
Well, you used to have all the standard KPIs with your voice system. You look at how quickly the call was answered, or what was your abandon rate, or how much containment did you get in the IVR. With customer experience today, those KPIs have changed. Now, some of those are still in play, but what we're able to see now and really benefit from within Genesis is the ability to see the customer journey, where it's a historical journey as well. So being able to begin to see our customers interacting with the company from their client portal, using the chat bot, escalating to an agent chat, and then even escalating to a voice agent, tying it all together in the reporting and being able to view that. And then perhaps 2 weeks later, the customer comes in and asks something similar. We can see they called in 2 weeks ago, or they started a chat 2 weeks ago. So just truly being able to see that customer journey, where it starts and where it ends, is a huge boon for us when working with our customers. And it's helping us be more proactive as well, with being able to send out SMS notifications. We can proactively tell customers when there's going to be a software upgrade to their point of sale system. We don't have it in production yet. I'm just saying that that's on the roadmap, to be able to proactively reach out to our customers and say, you have a software load you need to do by this date. A week later, by the way, you've got this software load. Let me schedule you an appointment with one of our agents to get it done, and begin to send the messaging back and forth to proactively manage that customer to get that software upgrade.
I was going to follow up. You mentioned some next steps. You mentioned understanding journey, identifying the best solution for messaging, and then also proactive engagement. Is there any other technologies, or is there anything that you see for Global Payments moving forward that you really want to investigate in? What's next? What's next for Global Payments outside of what's on the wish list, I guess?
Oh, yeah. The wish list is very important. And honestly, right now, the business's wish list is coming true. And our focus, I know this is kind of like a diversion from your question, but in reality, right now, our next 2 to 3 years is delivering on all of the digital capabilities. We know that in the future, we want to do more of customer journey and really begin to integrate it to our QA systems so that they can get more out of it. We also know that we have an older call recording system and workforce management system that we want to switch over to Genesis. So that's out there. We know that we're going to start doing some fraud risk assessment and scoring the risk, so our agents will know that we have a potential fraudster coming in. We also know that we can begin to do more authentication on the front end instead of having it be done directly with the agent and the customer on the phone. So those are some key areas that we're focused on, probably 2 to 4 years out.
That's very cool. So final question. And we could talk all day. This is so fascinating, your journey, and the ways that you're thinking about it. I think there's a lot that our listeners can take away. So as we close, what advice would you have for folks who are on a similar journey? And it can be in any part of how you're thinking about it, but what would be the 1 to 3 things that you would suggest as things that people should be thinking about or doing in their own world?
Yeah. I would say number 1 is align with the business. You have to. I mean, I say it's mandatory because technology alone can't solve the world problems. You've got to align with your business teams for them to be able to tell you where their opportunities are to improve that customer experience. And they're the ones that need to prioritize what goes first. So really being a partner and enabling the business is going to really drive that customer experience. The second thing is when you're doing your deployment and your testing, your UAT and your QA testing, use a good testing tool. We were able to use a very, very good testing tool this go around with Genesis voice migrations. And the boon that it gave us with the business was incredible. And I'm saying incredible. I had never seen such a great test program. And having our business users in the system validating their own call flows and watching the progress of how much the system has been tested is so worthwhile. And it gives confidence to the customers, meaning our internal customers, the business people, that the solution you're about to roll out is actually what they requested. It's what they designed. We have a migration today of about 800 users and toll-free numbers and DIDs. And this is just a voice migration. There were over 8,000 test scenarios that the business and the tech team went through. And we got up to 95% complete. We are all confident that the migration later tonight is going to go well because we've already tested it. We know it works. The third thing I would say is really align with Genesis. Use their team members to really help give you the expertise your team needs to learn the platform. Use the Genesis knowledge base. Their online documentation is tremendous. And if you reach out to the right Genesis people, they're going to send you links to every bit of documentation you need. When we were doing our business case on the bake-off, we found that Genesis had the best knowledge base and most up-to-date knowledge base of any of the other vendors that we reviewed. So utilize that, and if necessary, go get a value-added reseller. They'll have a lot of expertise in helping large enterprises migrate and building that migration. So I would say those are the things that would be helpful.
So Beth, I think that's fantastic advice, right? Align with the business, test so you have confidence, and partner with your vendor so that you can take advantage of their resources. Well, Beth Granberry from Global Payments, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast and sharing your expertise with our listeners. Thank you to those who are listening in and watching as well. And if you like this podcast, please subscribe so you get the next episode in your feed. Visit genesis.com to learn more about how you can level up your CX. Until next time, thanks for listening to Level Up CX Tech.